Fixed positions or handheld sweeps. Which method is better for sound insulation measurements? We did an investigation a couple of years ago into this question to see what happens. And in this test, we had student apartments. So there was many apartments that were nominally identical. And then we had, now I'm just gonna draw it like this. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 11. And then we tested like this. Measure apartment 1, then 2, and then we go back to 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, and so on and so forth. So we get 11 repeated measurements in this one, and then we get 11 in total, because that way we can compare the workmanship variations to the measurement uncertainty variations. And here's the interesting part. We also did with both fixed positions and handheld sweeps in the control apartment. And take a look at this. Here's the results with 2 different sweep times, 30 and 60 seconds. This is basically perfect overlap between these 2 curves, except for the higher frequencies, but they're not relevant when you measure impact sound insulation in wooden dwellings. But take a look at the fixed positions compared to the sweeps at the low frequency region down here. Between 20 and 100 here, there's a very, not at 20, but in this region at least, 50 to 100 hertz, that's the worst one. There's a huge discrepancy here between the 2 methods, and both are valid according to the ISO standards. You can pick whatever you choose, whichever you fancy. And if you measure from 100 hertz and upwards, the relative difference between fixed and sweeps was 0.8 dB. So it's basically negligible. It's a hard word to say. However, if you look at LNTW50 from 50 hertz, you're gonna include this region. And when you do impact sound insulation measurements in lightweight timber constructions, this part of the curve is crucial. And here's a very big systematic difference. And we found a difference of 3.3 decibel relative difference between fixed and sweeps. And that's a lot. That's almost a whole Swedish sound class, which is 4 decibels. And these rooms, they were 1-room apartments for students. The volume was about 50 cubic meters. So what that means is if you do the sweeps, you got 3 dB better results. And if you do the fixed positions, your measurement result will become worse. So that's quite interesting. I mean, we measured according to the ISO standards in both cases, and that's what we found out. And this is a room resonance. It's a modal sound field in these super low frequencies. Or not super low, I would consider. 50 to 100 is low, and 20 to 40 is like super low. But you have to be careful when you're working with timber constructions, because the measurement uncertainty can create some very strange results if you're not careful. So after we did this test a couple of years ago, I'm always very careful with this frequency region when I'm doing measurements, because I talked about this in another video. When you do a sweep, you get huge variations in the sound field. Well, you actually have the sound. The slide is still here. You can see when you sweep at 800 hertz, same results throughout the whole sweep. But when you measure here in 40 hertz, this has a difference from 50 something all the way up to almost 80. So you got 25, 30 dB difference between minimum and maximum throughout the sweep. And that's a lot. That's a huge difference. This is not the same room. This is from a completely different project, also timber construction, but you have this phenomena in all rooms. And then you can see here, 800 hertz, it's the same. Doesn't matter where you put your microphone. But in 40 hertz, you're in this region, and that's where you get a very big influence on, depending on where you put the microphone. So think about that if you're working in timber constructions. Be careful with your measurement uncertainty. And in today's video, I'm wearing my favorite green jacket, and I also pair it with a pair of green pants. And usually I avoid to get both green and green, but in this case I was in a big hurry this morning, so I just had to throw something together as fast as possible, and this was what was closest to me at hand, so I got it. And I think these two It's enough contrast, so I can get away with this. It works. However, if the jacket would have been brighter, like the pants, or the pants would have been darker, it could have become a problem, because when they're too close, it's not harmony anymore. They have to be, if they're both green, they have to be different shades of green to create a good, pleasant look and proper contrast. So that's it for today. See you later.